Every country in the world has debt. America's debt has exceeded $38 trillion. The European Union is around 14 trillion. Japan has reached nearly 9 trillion. Even countries with oil and all countries that feed the world through exports are in debt. When you hear this, a question naturally comes to mind. If everyone is in debt, then who gave this money? Who do we owe? And this is the critical point. Because the answer is far more surprising than we think, there isn't a clear someone. The world, to a large extent, is in debt to itself. Today, debt is not just an economic tool. It is the load-bearing column of the modern world. Wars, crises, booms, collapses, all of them are built on debt. It's everywhere, yet invisible. This system goes far back. It dates back centuries. In 1694, England was at war with France and had run out of money. The economy was barely functioning. The treasury was empty. The king went to the merchants and said, "Give me money now. I will pay you regular interest in the future." It was actually a very simple agreement, but its consequences were explosive. For the first time, the state began spending money it had not yet earned. In return, it gave lenders a promise. That promise was now a piece of paper, something that could be bought and sold. This is how government bonds were born, and the modern financial system was built on top of them. Over time, they realized something important. Borrowing was not a weakness. On the contrary, it was a sign of power. If you could borrow, it meant you were trusted. And if you were trusted, you could rule. In the past, empires conquered land for money. Now land was no longer necessary. Issue bonds, collect interest. When we look at today, the picture is this. Debt is the greatest invention the world has produced. America's debt is not, as many assume, owed to China. Most of it is owed to its own banks, its own funds, its own people. The Treasury issues bonds, pension funds buy them, insurance companies buy them. The central bank buys them when necessary. Taxes are collected, interest is paid. That interest flows back into the public's retirement accounts. The money makes a full circle. Debt exists, but the creditor is still inside the system. This is not unique to America. Japan lends to the United States. The United States lends to Europe. Europe lends to developing countries. Those countries, in turn, park their money in Western bonds. Everyone holds someone else's paper. This is a global game of trust. But this game has referees. They are the markets. If a country is trusted, it borrows at low interest rates. If trust disappears, interest rates spike. Money flees. Governments fall. And at the center of all this are central banks. They don't just manage debt. When necessary, they create money. The money in your pocket today is the counterpart of debt somewhere else. There is no such thing as debt-free money. So will these debts ever be paid off? The real answer is this: no. Governments do not plan to eliminate debt. They roll old debt into new debt. The real concern is not paying the principal, but paying the interest. Because this system cannot survive debt disappearing completely. If the United States paid off all its debt, the global economy would collapse. The safest asset in banks' balance sheets would vanish. The money supply would shrink. Deflation would begin. So debt here is not a problem. It is fuel. But there is a darker side to this. Interest payments are not distributed equally. They generally move upward, from bottom to top. Taxpayers pay. Those who hold the debt earn. That's why as debt increases, inequality grows. This is not just a transfer between countries, but a transfer between classes. In the end, debt is neither evil nor innocent. It is a tool. But everything depends on trust. When trust disappears, the numbers no longer matter. That's when it becomes very clear who the debt belongs to. And at that moment, debt stops being an abstract concept. It enters real life.